Good day. Hope you're having a great day. Apparently, because you're looking at this video clip, you must be interested in the cup at some level. But anyhow, I am Kurt Whiteside. I'm the originator of the cup. We began this event in 1996 in France, and subsequently a few years later we moved it to the Netherlands, which happens to be the heartbeat of fast pitch softball in Europe. Anyhow, two things that people that are inquiring about the cup want to know about, which has been the same for all the years that we've had the cup. One is safety, which is pretty easily handleable. We have a parent go with every athlete, and so that's a pretty easy way to get around the safety part, because you're going to be with them whether you're in the room with them at nighttime, whether you're going to and from the fields by train. You're going to be with them then. You're going to be with them in Paris when you tour, and as well during the games. Of course, you can't stand there at shortstop with them, but you'll be in the stands, so they will be with you the entire time. In fact, it's been said that they're so tired, these athletes are so tired of their parents that they can't wait to get home to be without them. But the good thing is that that covers a safety point in a major league way. Anyhow, the second thing happens to be the financial side. And the financial side is obviously it's a two-time financial deal, because we have a parent going with an athlete. But I will share with you this, the last, I think we started tracking in 2014, in which we have over 90% of our athletes going with no family funds invested, and about 70% of our parents doing the same. Behind this video, we've got an email that I'm going to be sending to you, and this email has to do with all the fundraising strategies that we put together that are really significant in being sure that the family fund investment is at a near low or zero point. There are 2 or 3 fundraisers in that if you spend 90 days and 4 or 5 or 6 hours a week, you'll gain about $4,000. So those are going to be the big impact ones. There's several in there, 6 or 7 of them in this fundraising pack, that you'll be able to gain about $2,500, maybe $1,500 at a time. It only takes a few weeks to mature, but nonetheless, they're still great pieces that we've done. We've kind of built these fundraising packages so that you can raise this money on your own, whether you're in Ontario, whether you're in Florida, whether you're in Texas, or wherever you may be. So that being said, take a peek at this fundraising pack, and I will say this, that everyone that will tell me, and of course it's probably true, they don't have time. And the funny thing is about time, everyone has time to do what they want to do. They don't have time to do what they don't want to do. So if you're not really interested in the cup and you don't want to do this, then obviously you're not going to be heading on the trip and so forth. But if you are interested in spending a little bit of time doing this, the reward is just monstrous. I mean, from culture, from history, from travel, from adventure, from ball to cuisine and so forth. The adventure is pretty dynamic on the side of, if you just spend a little bit of time, the reward is pretty dynamic. Anyhow, a little bit about the teams that we take. We normally take, our sweet spot happens to be grades 9, 10, and 11. We do take some seniors. We have taken some 8th graders before, but that's kind of our sweet spot there. The girls that we play against happen to be national level players. They are from the Czech Republic, from Russia, from Belgium, from Germany, depending on the varying years. There's varying countries that do come. Their average age happens to be 24, 25, 26, that range. So we actually are playing women. And at the national level. So it's been said before that the talent that we have and the girls that we take, not too often do you guys get to play a internationally ranked program like the Dutch are ranked 4th in the world, for example. So not too many times you get to play someone that's ranked in the world, which is pretty cool on that note. Normally we represent about between 10 and 20 states depending on the year. So it's interesting that we do take a variety of states involved in this adventure. A little bit of a couple of things I want to share with you on this note on the cost side. We try to keep everything on top of the table, so there's just no one ever being fooled as to what's now needed to be spent. We have 3 things that I want to discuss with you. One is the insurance part of the trip. We do not insure our athletes or families traveling wise. That normally will cost you about $200. About 80% of our people do not buy insurance. It's up to you, but the majority do not buy it. But as you know, insurance is the worst bill to pay, but the one that you need the most when you do need it the most. So we give you some indications as to where to buy it. We don't sell it, but you can take a peek at it. Actually, throughout the course of the year, you can take a peek at it and pick it up at any time prior to leaving. I think it's 30 days is the deadline. The second thing we don't pay for is lunch and supper. It's pretty easy to note that we can't ring the dinner bell in Paris. It's really hard to ring it over a 17 million people population and have you come back. So that being said, it's interesting that we can continue to have that done, going off and having your own lunches and dinners. You've got to do that in Paris. Anyhow, the third thing that obviously we cannot pay for is getting to the Gateway City. If you're in Columbus, Ohio, like I am, it's going to cost $100 to get to the Gateway City, which is normally Philly, Newark, or DC is generally our gateway cities. So if you're living in Pittsburgh, about $100 round trip, you will get there. If you're living in Charlotte, it's probably a little bit the same, maybe a little bit less. But it's based on location to the gateway city. So obviously, as you go out further to St. Louis and Dallas and so forth, it grows a little bit. But that is something we did not put in the cost of the trip simply because there's no reason to have someone pay $400 for a gateway city, because that's probably the Denver round trip, when someone might be closer and they don't have to pay that kind of money. But anyhow, we can handle it. But those are the three things that we don't pay for, and that you got to take a peek at anyhow. I will share this with you that lunch and supper we don't do, but about $150 will do you for the entire time that you're there. But breakfast, I can tell you that you can graze for 4 hours, and believe me, you can put your if you need 5,000 calories, you absolutely can do that every morning. And again, the $150 will do you for lunch and supper. If you're modest eating, of course, you can blow that budget through the roof. But we certainly can give you direction as to where to buy a $4 meal, and we can give you direction to where to buy a $150 meal. And there's many, many, many restaurants in between, so you're not going to be holed up into going to a restaurant or two. There's probably in Paris, for example, there's probably maybe 400 restaurants that you might have a choice in. There's budgets everywhere. The same with the Netherlands. I don't think there's 400, but there's probably 40 that you can go to immediately, walk out the door, and within a few minutes be within a reach of probably 40 or 50 restaurants that are all kinds of budgets, from the $4 meal all the way up. Going on to a little bit of the trip itself, we leave on Wednesday night, and we arrive back on Wednesday. It's always over Martin Luther King Monday. Monday is of course, it's school day off, so school day wise, you're going to be missing Thursday, Friday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I can also tell you that I don't care where you are in the world, exams happen during this time, whether it's the week that we leave or the week that we come back, exams do happen. And if your school is in the business of education, I think they are. I'm not sure, some of them are, in fact. But I can tell you this, that every school that we've connected to over the past 20 plus years, they're really keen on this adventure, because it's not just about softball, it's about this history side, the culture side, and so forth, the two different countries and seeing the history there. And of course, as you probably know already, the more you do in the history side and hands-on, the more you're going to remember. It's going to obviously enrich your life and so forth. So we've never had a problem with schools. It's just that they are giving exams at this time, and some take them exams before, some take them when they come back, but nonetheless there are exams during this time. And believe me, I can tell you that in the 4 days of school that you're going to miss, I bet you will learn more than a semester's worth of learning that you could learn in those 4 days with a hands-on kind of history kind of thing going on. Anyhow, a little bit of the itinerary. We leave on a Wednesday, where it's an overnight flight of about 8 hours. You land in the morning on Thursday morning. Thursday day is a bit of a jet lag, get your legs back kind of day. That evening we put on a clinic for the Belgian, German, and Dutch youth, which is always the highlight. Actually, it's a real highlight of the trip, because this is when our girls who are coupling up with the the Dutch national team, and we're doing a clinic for these athletes, for these little 9, 10, 11 years old athletes. So it's kind of a fun thing. It's an autograph session afterwards, because these little girls so want to be like an American athlete. So that's kind of a fun thing for our youth that we bring. Friday day is we get up early. We're headed to Anne Frank's home in Amsterdam by motor coach. If you want, you don't have to. You can sleep in all day if you wish, but probably you want to head that way. We've got to get the girls back from Amsterdam, which is about an hour ride south, back to our location, because we've got to get the girls fed. They've got to get their clothes changed. They've got to eat, and of course get on a train and head to the field, because opening ceremonies is Friday evening, and games happen that time as well. Friday or Saturday and Sunday, it's the same kind of similar day. We're playing in the morning and in the afternoons, and in the evenings you're going to go out to eat somewhere. But Sunday after closing ceremonies, we are on a motor coach headed to Paris. And it's kind of interesting because a few hours after you're loading the bus and everyone's taking a nap and so forth, all of a sudden the driver will announce that the Eiffel Tower is in the right front corner of the bus and motor coach. So it's kind of fun to watch for 30 minutes as we kind of saunter into Paris. That the Eiffel Tower is just right there. Kind of a dream, a little bit of a dream. Everyone sees it on TV, but no one sees it in person. And that's one thing we do. We actually will see it in person, up front and center. So it's kind of fun arriving on Sunday evening. And Sunday evening we're in Paris. There's a little bit of time to do what you wish. Monday and Tuesday we're in Paris, whether you're prom dress shopping or you're headed to Notre Dame or whatever, or the Louvre, or seeing the Mona Lisa, or going to Napoleon's Palace. We've got time to do these things. Wednesday we are back. So we're leaving Wednesday morning from Paris. We're back normally by supper time. So needless to say, it's an 8-day, 7-night trip away from home. And the fun thing is that we're going to wrap you up into sport, of course, which is Open the Door, and we're going to continue to wrap around you the culture, the cuisine, the history of what we're going to be seeing and so forth. I will say this, that many times it's been said, where in the world can you fly a little short flight of 8 hours, land in a country that's 18 feet below the Atlantic Ocean, which the Netherlands is, that evening be doing some, on arrival evening, be doing some clinic with some youth that really just absolutely loves the American athlete. The next day be in Anne Frank's home and touring the city of Amsterdam. That evening be playing with and against some incredible athletes, whether they're from Russia or whether they're just your normal teammates, all weekend long, exchanging some fun with international athletes that play at a very high level. The evening on Sunday night be in Paris and touring around Notre Dame, which is what more normally they do. And Monday morning, sitting on top of the Eiffel Tower, overlooking probably one of the most beautiful cities in the world. You couple all that together with culture, history, cuisine, adventure, and so forth. It just becomes an incredible, incredible journey on that on the front of how sport has opened the door for everyone. But anyhow, that's about the gist of the trip. There's not much more I can share with you, but on this email that you received this clip from, there's certainly an email reply back that you can reply and ask any questions that you might want to fire away to us, and keep us abreast of what your thoughts are on this thing. We sure would love to add players, and of course that's why you're looking at this thing. But the goal happens to be keeping your cost in check, and if you have a little bit of effort, believe me, the reward is absolutely as dynamic as you will ever have in doing something of this magnitude. Not many people get to do this, and having you be able to have that chance to do that exact thing is a pretty incredible thing that you'll be able to put in your resume for your life's effort. So needless to say, it's kind of fun. I will leave you at that, and if you have any questions, again, just hit reply and we can go from there. We can give you information on which questions you might be or have. Thanks.